Hello and welcome to what has sort of become an annual tradition here on Hedgeworks Motorsport. It's that time of the year where I sit outside in the sunshine in my garden and talk about the British touring car season so far. It's 2024. It's been a very interesting year. I think it's been a really exciting championship battle, so many different stories as well. So we've got lots to talk about. Despite having a few less drivers compared to some previous years, I think the action's still been great. So in this video, we're going to be reviewing the 2024 season so far, I suppose rating and reviewing and discussing all the drivers that have competed in the campaign so far. There'll be in-depth and balanced analysis from myself, Louis Hedge, 18-year-old motorsport commentator, interviewer and journalist, as well as what's going to make this season, mid-season review really special is we're going to be hearing from drivers as well. We'll be cutting to them and hearing what they've thought on certain topics as well, because you know they're the important ones. So sit back, relax, get yourself a drink and enjoy my mid-season review for 2024.
Yeah, touring cars is, it just gets me up in the morning. I'm really excited for the start of the year. You never know quite how it's going to develop.
It deserves its place as, the best touring car championship in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely growing. It's going in the right direction. I think it had a bit of negative press over the winter with some teams dropping out and some cars falling off the grid.
The politics, the racing, the inter-team sort of rivalries between drivers.
But to be honest with you, I still think it's going to be mega tight at the top, and it's going to be the best racing that you'll see live on TV,
Starting off our list, down in 21st place is Nick Halstead, the fourth Accelerate Motorsport driver. Nick's had another tricky season, but he is making progress. He is still learning, obviously, the car and the championship and improving. He obviously did have that big step back a couple of weekends on the bounce, really. He was ill at Snetterton, so he missed two of the races, which is obviously, that's a real shame when things like that impact your weekend, which you're completely out of control with. But also when he had a big crash at Thruxton. Luckily, he was okay after it. It was the end of the day, so obviously the team had a couple of weeks to repair it, ready for Alton Park, the race we've just come out of. But where Nick, I think, really is a real good addition to the championship is the effort he puts in. His livery is really amazing. One of the few kind of liveries that's on its own, I suppose, in the championship. There's no other ones like it. He had a whole livery launch reveal, which, the time and effort that went into that is really remarkable, and you've got to respect him for that. It was great to be there and broadcast that out to you fans. And as well, obviously, the crazy carts, which he puts a lot of time and effort into organising, and that's a real great addition to the championship. It's become a real staple of the weekend, even being added to the timetable. So fair play to Nick Halstead, because people worrying about the touring cars and the direction it's going, losing drivers, its popularity, etc., etc., Nick is one of the few people out there really making a difference on improving it for everyone. So you've got to respect him for that.
Yeah, they're going to do bigger and better. It's now part of the official timetable of the weekend, so it'll be on after every qualifying on a Saturday. Bigger and better, more, as you've seen, they love to do all the effects and everything, so it's, crazy karts will be bigger and better. We've got lots more drivers who have seen how popular it is with the fans will be taking part, and we have a full website with points, so it's a proper championship this year. All the chaos will still be there, more destructibles, I hope. But yeah, it's going to be fun.
Just ahead of him in 20th place is Scott Sumpton, someone that I really respect, someone I get on very well with, and someone I'm pleased to see he made the jump to touring cars. He's a great example of why the BTCC is such, a desirable championship to race in. He had a European TCR campaign set out for him, but then the opportunity came up to race in the BTCC, and he went straight for that. It's obviously been a lot to learn. It's a big jump up from the TCR UK up to the BTCC, but he's doing pretty well. He's got him the points, as has everyone this year, but still getting him the points in the BTCC is a big ask. He's got him the points, and he's learning constantly, and I think he knows that this year is very much going to be about learning the car, learning the circuits, and learning the championship as a whole, because there's nothing else out there like it. I think he's doing a good job. I think you're the only rookie on the grid for this year, aren't you? Do you think that's a bit of an extra challenge?
Yes, I think it is. I think it's a bit of a challenge, but again, I've set no expectations for myself. Of course, I want the Jack Sears trophy. That's what I'll be going for. But I think it's just taking it step by step, not getting too hung up on if I'm not where I want to be. But it will all come. It will all come.
As is the driver ahead of him in 19th place, Daryl De Leon. That car didn't even look like it was going to make the grid at the start of the year. From the ashes of Team Hard rose Unlimited Motorsport. Now, say what you like about them and the off-season, but you've got to respect after doing one lap at Media Day, right at the end of the day when it was chucking it down, the heavens opened. I was cozied up in a garage, keeping dry. They finally got him out to do that outlap. He had, obviously far less testing and practice than anyone else. So to do that well at Donington Park in the opening round, qualifying, getting past, the opening stages of qualifying, out-qualifying works cars, factory cars, people faster than him, he's done a good job. He's been on the point several times, and he's another great example of a young lad who is desperate to race in Britain's Premier Motorsport Series. He's doing a good job.
With Media Day, I got the outlap in, but everyone at this new team, Unlimited Motorsport, they've been putting in so much hard work and effort, so I can't fault them for that. So I'd just like to say massive thank you to everyone there. We're just all pushing one as a team, and we'll see how it goes, and we'll see what the weather does. So yeah. Just
ahead of him, we've got Sam Osborne in the 4th Napa Racing Ford Focus ST. It's been a bit of a quiet year for Sam, I will be honest. He's not been making the headlines too much. He had a pretty tricky start to the year at Donington. We had the terrible weather, and on the opening lap of the first race, after the 4 hours delay, while we were all sort of stood about getting soaked, he had a very big off going down the Craney curves. That was obviously a real setback for him, and obviously he then missed race 2 because of that. They couldn't get the car out in time, but another driver that's been in the points, he's been obviously fighting for the Jack Sears trophy as well, although he got the podium technically last year. It wasn't on the road, so it didn't count, so he's still fighting that out, which is good to see. He obviously had the outing in the British truck racing, where he actually won, also in a Napa Racing piece of machinery, so he obviously did well there, but obviously it's been a tricky year so far for him, but we've got some interesting races coming up. Keep an eye out for him. I remember him doing well at Silverstone last year. That's still to come. So yeah, don't count him out yet. He's got good machinery under him and a good team. Just ahead of him is Chris Smiley in 17th, returning to the championship after a couple of years at TCR UK, the first of which in 2022 he won the championship. So coming back to the BTCC, his first year obviously in the Cupra with Restart Racing. It's been a tricky year. It's his first year with the hybrid system, so that's a whole nother thing to learn, as well as obviously switching your mind and you're driving from a TCR car to an NGTC hybrid British touring car. There's a lot to learn, but he's done well. He's gone a little bit under the radar at points. He's had some tricky times, but he's ended the first half of the season at Alton Park very well. 2 top 10 finishes. That had been the first for the team in the category, so a great way to sign off the first half of the campaign, and I think more points finishes and more top 10s will come his way as the season goes on. They're constantly learning. Restart Racing is a fantastic example of a real underdog story, aren't they? They're underfunded, they're an independent team, but they're still out there fighting, giving it their all, and it's their first year in the championship. It wasn't that long ago, Accelerate Motorsport, arguably one of the biggest teams in the category now, were in that position. Back in 2019, they joined the grid at the back with 2 very old at that point MG6s, and they got a couple of points across the whole year. So don't count them out. Chris Smiley will be constantly improving, I think, and who knows, maybe a top 5 or 2 before the end of the year will be coming his way.
But yeah, it's good to be back, and obviously there's a few things have changed since I've been away with the hybrid system, and obviously it's changed again this year. It's a bit more powerful this year, so yeah, I think it's exciting. It's good to be back, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the first race weekend. Not this weekend, but the following weekend. It's amazing how fast it's came around.
Now, next one, in 16th place, Bobby Thompson. We've obviously only got one weekend of racing for him to talk about, but the fact that he's in 16th in the championship after just one weekend is pretty incredible. Obviously, he missed the first 2 rounds at Donington Park and Brands Hatch, but he finally got the budget together for Snetterton, which everyone was happy for. I caught up with him the week leading up to it. We discussed obviously all the preparation and hard work that had gone into it, and it was so great to see him do so well. Obviously got on the podium, qualifying he did well, and you've got to remember that's the first time he's driven a rear-wheel drive British touring cars. Prior to this, he'd obviously had time in the front-wheel drive Cupra and the Audi before then, and even back in the Volkswagen days, so he did a great job. Obviously it's a shame he's not been out since, but I know he's working very hard, not just on the rest of the year, but next season as well. That's, I suppose, he's got to play the long game now as well. We're halfway through the year, he's got to bear that in mind. But we all know what he can do. The team, West Surrey Racing, you know it's a good sign because they're behind him. They want to get him out. So he's got no worries regarding to that. It's just about money and sponsorship, unfortunately. But that's the way it goes. But the one weekend he has done 10 out of 10. You've got to respect it. He did very well. There's been a lot of hard work that's gone into this, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was a difficult winter. I've been in a fortunate position from the team I've come from where I've stayed there and budget-wise has been okay. I've been fairly comfortable, but now to go racing you have to find a lot of money. Unfortunately I don't come from money, so we have to make something happen. Obviously we're arriving to the championship 2 rounds late, turning up at round 3. So to get this all over the line is only started happening around about a week ago. So we're forcing a lot through that usually takes about 2-3 months. So yeah, it's absolutely flat out. Still to this day, we're a week out exactly from the first round, and we are still working like dogs behind the scenes to make this happen.
Just ahead of him is Ronan Pearson. Now, interesting year, another typical kind of season of a driver that's kind of in their early days of their touring car career. He had that amazing race 3 win at Brands Hatch, which it's always lovely to see a new winner in the championship. He drove very well, obviously got a poor start off the line, but fought back up to take the lead. He did very well there, but aside from that, he's had a very, very difficult year. His qualifying's been pretty well. Donington Park, the opening round springs to mind, getting right up there. But it's unfortunate that he's not had much luck, has he? And it's been a pretty difficult year so far, aside from that first career win. What has it been like these last few weeks? You're a touring car race winner.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Really, really cool feeling. It's only just sunk in, to be honest. I would say it's been a long old journey, long old road to get here, and finally it's clicked and we've achieved something that I dreamt about for a long time.
In 14th place, Andrew Watson, another driver, in my opinion, I think has had a pretty difficult time. He's not even had the win yet, which Pearson did. But again, it's only his second season in touring cars. All of his amazing experience prior to the BTCC, you might as well put in a bag and throw away. He's still got so much to learn, learning the front-wheel drive Toyota. It was a switch up from the Vauxhall Astra he was in last year. So I'm expecting a little bit more from him the rest of the season, I've got to be honest. But I think that will come. We've seen all 3 of the other Toyotas do well throughout the year. So don't count him out just yet. I think Andrew Watson, he's had sparks of amazingness, qualifying well at Donington, right in the mix at Snetterton. Obviously, that was a very tricky round overall. He got caught out by some of the tricky weather conditions, which obviously was a shame for him. But don't count out Andrew Watson yet. He's got a good car in him, and that overall combination of driver, car and team is going to keep improving.
Yeah, nice to come back a second year, know the tracks now, getting used to the cars. Team's great, teammates great, so yeah, really positive.
Must be nice having a year of front-wheel drive touring car machinery experience already under your belt heading into this year. You must be excited to move on to something a bit different in the Toyota.
Yeah, Toyota feels great at the minute. We've got a lot of support, a great team around us, so yeah, it's all positive at the minute.
13th place, just ahead of him, is Mikey Doble. After Alton Park, one of the star drivers of that weekend. Mikey obviously debuted in the championship last season with Paramax Racing, where he still is now. And he always seemed pretty comfortable in the championship. He settled in quickly from BMW Compact Cup Racing, Ginetta Racing. He settled in very nicely there. He obviously got that pole position on the road at Silverstone last year. So to almost win a race this weekend just gone at Alton Park was pretty incredible. You've got to feel a bit sorry for him, but you've got to really respect finishing second still in a car that, you can't really compare the BMW with the Vauxhall. The BMW it's realistically a lot better. It's a lot newer. It's a lot faster. So to hold on for that long on the final lap, I'm sure he will be a little bit gutted. But to do so well, to get on the podium, was a great effort from him. So, really well done to Mikey. It's been another great year, and I think he's just going to keep on improving and one to watch for many more years to come, I think. And, I think that whole drive, Mikey, the whole team as well, have put so much effort on and off the track to make it all work. You've got to hand it to them. Powermax Racing, another great underdog story and a real dark horse, I think, this season. So, fair play to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's an off-season in terms of you don't see the cars go around the track, but quite often there's more work goes on in the off-season than the on-season. But yeah, the team have been hard at work back at base, try and extract a few more temps from the car and make it better in a race scenario. And obviously us drivers have been away doing all sorts of commercial activities and trying to regain and attain new sponsors for this season. So now obviously everything's happening for real. We see the cars physically out there on the track, and I think there's a lot of excitement around at the moment.
Not faring quite so well in terms of his standards, I would say, is Daniel Rowbottom in 12th. He's in another one of the Napa Racing Ford Focusers, and he has had a complete stinker this year. I think last year he had his moments of bad luck, but by this point he'd already had a race win and sort of made it up. But it's not gone well for Robo at all. Any opportunity he's kind of had to take some good points, of podium, a win, has been taken away from him. His opening weekend of the season at Donington was very much one step forward, two back, with car problems and contact and all sorts. And that's kind of set the whole season out for him, really. Alton Park should have been a great one for him, setting, the fastest times in the practice sessions, right in the mix. Qualified fairly well, could have done a little bit better, but the quick six format, which you have to let me know what you think of it, because I think it has divided opinions, that caught him out a little bit, so he could have been a few places higher. He was running really well, up in the top 5, had great pace, but then obviously got called in because of that meatball flag, because of obviously the damage on his car. I won't go there. That's a whole nother video debate, I reckon. Let me know if you want to hear more about that another time, but we've not got enough time for it today. So Robo, I reckon I'd like to hope that he'll win before the end of the season, because, like I said, it has been a complete nightmare for him. So we can only hope. Just ahead of him in 11th, a driver I think has done pretty well to settle back into the campaign, is Rob Huff, former World Touring Car Champion, former British Touring Car race winner, and he did win again 20 years after he'd won last time in the British Championship at Snetterton in race 3, which was a great result for him. Toyota 123 for Speedworks, which was lovely to see, a team where they've got such a good driver lineup. The cars are pretty good. They're just missing that final little bit of magic that I think that'll push them to be winning races 1 and 2, I think, at times. So, they've won before in the third race, and obviously to get that third race win with Rob Huff and the 1-2-3 was great for them. Huff is obviously a class act. He's an amazing driver, but I think he knew, and I expected him to take this year just to settle back in, learn the championship, learn the hybrid system, learn the NGTC cars again. They've changed a lot, and nowhere else really runs those cars. So yes, he's a World Touring Car Champion, but over in those categories they were running TCR cars. You can't compare the two. It's like I was saying with Restart Racing earlier. It's a massive change. So a great start to the season. You might be thinking 11th for a World Champion. Could have been expecting a bit more. But he's not just going to be here for a year. He's come back to the championship knowing he's here to stay for a little while. So to get a race win in his first year back, I think is pretty impressive. I think you can expect more for him for the rest of the season. I think he'll run well at Silverstone, for example, likes of Knock Hill, Brands GP, we've all got coming up. So expect more from him for this season, but he's playing the long game. Expect more from him in the coming years, I think.
It's been brilliant, just getting to grips with the car, getting to grips with the team, my engineer, just, understanding as much as possible. There's a lot of differences with many different things, with tyres, with tyre compounds, with hybrid. Thank you very much. So it's just getting your head around all the systems and the procedures. Thank you. I'm used to warming tyres up in much hotter climates, and they take a bit longer. So it's just, understanding those procedures and just getting, those feelings to become, sixth senses.
And in 10th place is one of another Accelerate Motorsport driver. That's Tom Chilton. Now, Tom, I think he's had a difficult couple of years. Obviously, he won right at the start of last season in 2023 in that really mixed-up race at Donington Park. But I think he's gone pretty under the radar, and actually, despite him being in 10th of the championship, he has been getting the job done, but he has been going, doing it quite quietly. He's only got, one podium, I think, back at Brands Hatch. He obviously qualified pretty well in the quick six last time out at Alton Park, but kind of went under the radar a little bit, still staying in the top 10 in race 1. And actually coming into this previous weekend at Alton, I think he's about 7th in the championship, but I was quite surprised actually, compared to where some of the other drivers were, who had won and they were behind him and examples like that. I know he's dropped a few places now, but he has been very consistent, very, avoided trouble. He's had the odd car problem, which I think sometimes does plague him a little bit, getting caught up in incidents or mechanical failures, but I think coming into the season, Tom was confident. He knew the hard work that the team had been putting in, not just for him and his other teammates, but everything with making the car better. They moved where the team was based, so a lot of hard work went into the season, and I think they knew pace was going to be good, but it was then about finding out where they kind of fitted in with everyone else. So solid year so far for Tom Chilton. It's always a busy time, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Like, everyone just switches off their TVs at the end of last year and switches them back on this weekend. They don't realise how much work goes in between each season. Everything from, we've actually moved the team this year up to where Team Dynamics is in Droitwich, which is just west of Birmingham, sort of Worcester area, and it's a big change for the team, but it was the right decision because we're right in the heart of the country. So we've now got the correct staffing. The team is run beautifully. Literally, it's like a well-oiled machine now. And we've explored every area on the car to improve. So it's been a big step forwards for us as a team. And for me, it's consistency. It's my 3rd year in a row with the team, and my lucky number 3. So hopefully we have a good one.
Another class driver, I think, for this year has been Aidan Moffat after 2 pretty horrendous years. The first of which being with Laser Tools by the end of the Infinity. It was the end of its life, really. It was very troublesome that year. And then last season with One Motorsport in the Hondas, where nothing really clicked, not even for Josh Cook, who became the real staple of Honda and couldn't even win at Thruxton. We'll talk about him in a bit. But Moffat, it's been a great year for him so far. Another driver that's been plagued with car problems. He obviously won race 3 at Donington, which was just amazing to see. He hadn't won for a fair few years, since 2021, I believe. So he did really well there. Fought off likes of Rob Huff, Colin Turkington, so many great drivers there. And he didn't have it easy. He had to fight through from 3rd or 4th, so he did a great job there. He got another podium at Snetterton, obviously part of that Toyota 123. But there's been a fair few other chances of him being on the podium. Brands Hatch Race 3, for example, he's running either 2nd or 3rd, right up there. A car issue. Back at Alton Park just this weekend gone, he was on the soft tyres. He was looking, Josh Cook won that race with the exact same machinery, exact same circumstances, and Moffat was running in about 6th, and he could have gone forward without a doubt. So, and that was another example where car problems that made cut short his race. So it's been a good year for Moffat, somewhat frustrating at times, but he is driving very well. He knows the car's good underneath him, and he's adapted very quickly coming into the season, because I guess you always know when you change cars, there's always going to be a bit of teething time to kind of sort things out and make sure everything's all A-OK. You must be super excited for the new year, a new challenge for you with the Toyota. You must be excited to give something new a go.
Yeah, I mean, it's been giving something new a go for 3 years in a row. The last couple of years have been difficult, but I feel a lot more comfortable with our starting base this year, so fingers crossed that we can take where we are now and that it stays that way going into the first round, and we can just improve on that.
Adam Morgan, another driver that's been sort of getting the job done, in 8th place ahead of him. He had a couple of weekends on the bounce where he was qualifying on the front row, but never quite converting it. I had a good feeling that he was going to do pretty well at Thruxton, which he did all right. Got some good points. He always runs well around there. I remember him back in the Sicily Mercedes days, and even when he drove for Sicily again, but in the BMW 3 Series as an independent entry, obviously, he did pretty well there. So he's been getting good points. I'd like to think he'll win before the end of the year, but we'll have to wait and see. He's, like I said, he's had the opportunities. He's qualified well, so he's been there on merit. It's not been reversed grid, opportunities always, but there's been the odd mistake, odd lock-up that's caused him to kind of, fall back, which is a shame for him because he is driving well.
It's been very busy. You know, the guys at WSR, the guys and girls at WSR over the winter have, I mean, it's the same car as last year, but it's essentially, it feels like a new car. The amount of work they've put in terms of the aero, the cooling package, engine development. But one of the biggest changes for us on this car is we've been allowed to move the battery position inside the car, and that's really shifted the weight distribution and weight balance, and has just really helped with the handling of the car.
In 7th place, a real star driver for me so far this season, it's Aaron Taylor-Smith. Now, Aaron, with the car he's in, the team he's driving for, and the guys he's going up against, both driver and car and team, he is punching way above his weight. You look in the top 10 of the BTCC most weekends at the minute, and there'll be 9 manufacturer cars and teams and drivers. That one independent driver will be Aaron Taylor-Smith. He is doing such a good job with the resources he's got, the equipment he's got, and making opportunities work for him. Yes, sometimes he'll be knocked out in the first or second part of qualifying. That's the way it goes. But he will then plan his whole weekend accordingly around that, you know, and thinking, race 1, I'm not going to be able to get a win, a podium, a top 5, whatever. But race 3, there's more than a good opportunity to make that work for him. And he's done that. Obviously, race 3 at Alton Park was a great example of that. Obviously, got a podium. A circuit, I wouldn't say typically the Vauxhall would run particularly well round. I'd expect it more from the likes of Thruxton or Silverstone, maybe. So let's see how the rest of the season goes for him. He had a great second half of the year last season. And he's gonna be confident coming out of this summer break into the rest of the year because he's been driving well and he seems really comfortable at Powermax, which is really lovely to see. So I can't say enough good things about him this season. Yeah, last season was an amazing one for you, particularly the second half. It must be nice going into this year with that experience, and you can build on that, can't you?
Absolutely. I think when you look at all the greats in this championship, it's the continuity of staying with a team and building with them rather than just jotting around the paddock. So to me, I have a lot more confidence in my own driving, the package beneath me, the team around me, and I think we should be in a really good place. Like, I think we'll see what we can do. Like, I just want to be in the mix, be able to fight for race wins, and see what happens. You never know.
In 6th place is Colin Turkington. Now, it's been a really up and down season for him so far. Brands Hatch, perfect, stormed it. Double win by quite a good margin. He pulled away while everyone else behind him was falling over each other. So he's been doing a fantastic job in those kind of races. He's again been massively overshadowed by the likes of Jake Hill, and Alton Park was a complete stinker for him. Which happens, it's touring car racing. He's had that in the past in seasons where he's, you know, fought back through to you know, mount a title attack and win the championship, but now he needs it to go his way. He needs more wins, more double wins consistently on the podium, and needs to be outscoring everyone ahead of him really for the rest of the season to stay in that championship hunt. Alton Park was a big knock for him, but we've seen the BMW is a better package this year. Hard work from the team coming into this year with it, so don't count him out just yet. He's a 4-time champion, he is quick, but at times bad luck has kind of plagued him, as well as overall a lack of pace at times, which has been unfortunate. You must be really excited just to get going now.
Yeah, excited and nervous and anxious and all those things. You know, it's it's a big campaign, any sort of touring car season, but the car looks fantastic. You know, the 330e, and it should be a stronger package this year than what we've had, I'd say, over the last 2 years. You know, there's been a lot of work and energy and development happen over the winter. So yeah, I think we'll have a strong package, but we'll see where that puts us in the pack. You know, we start testing in earnest next week. So yeah, looking forward to getting back in, driving the car and doing a bit of racing.
Breaking into the top 5 then, we've got Josh Cook, the highest of the Toyota drivers, which is a pretty impressive result. Both him and Moffat are beating the 2 Gazoo Racing cars. In their satellite side, the LKQ Euro car parts entry. God, it's a mouthful, isn't it? There's some long old racing teams at the minute. I think Formula 1 is bad. The touring cars is on a whole nother level. But Josh, a little bit similar to the likes of Morgan and Chilton actually this year. He's been under the radar, got good points, but he has high standards. He'll be wanting more race wins. He's finally got that first race win in a couple of years actually. He got that just at Alton Park in race 2, stormed through the field, Went from about 8th to 1st on the opening lap, so great race for him there. But he'll be wanting more, and you know, he's a classy driver. Obviously, he didn't win at Thruxton, which he would have really wanted and saw that as an opportunity. But as he said that weekend, everything has to align and everything has to be working to get him that opportunity in the first place. So he's been doing this long enough. He's had his ups, he's had his downs. You know, it's a shame he had a really good few years at BTC racing in the Hondas where he was consistently, you know, fighting for the championship. But I say that, he's in 5th. Don't count him out just yet. He's still in this. So to get his first win with the team and the car, and in a few years, will really boost his confidence, and he'll be able to start as he means to go on for the rest of the year after the summer break. I think, obviously, opening weekend at Donington was pretty quiet for him, but a solid start, best he could have asked for, and I guess he knew that there was pace in the car, seeing his teammate Aidan Moffat win. So don't count Cook out just yet.
Yeah, it was okay. It was I think probably the best of the situation we were in. Bagged some good points. There's still quite a lot for us to work on the car. So it's been a busy week for everybody back at base. But you know, I think for us it was a good starting point, and hopefully we're just going to get stronger and stronger.
We've got another Napa Racing Ford Focus as we get into 4th with Dan Camish. Now, to be fair, Dan, I think, has had a pretty shocking couple of years. You know, 2022 he was plagued with bad luck. Last year he started it really well with you know, a fair few wins in the opening races, but then kind of dropped off, I'll be honest. He's been pretty quietly going about his business this year, but I tell you what, he's been consistent, and that is exactly how he raced in 2019 when he almost won the championship. He was consistently getting the podiums while everyone was raving about Andrew Jordan and Colin Turkington in the BMWs winning races. Camish wasn't far behind, getting the points, getting the podiums. He needs to win well, he's not won yet this year, so he needs to win some more races for the rest of the season. But like I said, his best season being 2019, this is exactly how he drove. So actually, somewhat of a dark horse, I think. I think the only thing he needs to do is now, if he is in this position to fight for the championship, is he needs to fight everyone and not just for likes of Hill, Ingram, Turkington, Cook. He needs to fight Sutton as well. I know he's his teammate and they can do it respectfully, but if he will always settle for P2 behind Sutton, he will always be that number 2 driver in the team, and I don't think we want to see that. I completely understand if it gets to the penultimate race of the year and he's not in a chance of winning, then you kind of can help out your teammate. It's finding that balance, isn't it? And we've seen so many times teammates, you know, fall out and teams, you know, going their separate ways and being divided down the middle. We don't want to see that. We don't want a Plato Muller kind of thing. What would be good is a Matt Neal, Gordon Shen kind of thing. Yes, they've had their comings together and it's gone wrong at times. However, they did work together and got a lot of success for both them and the team over the years, didn't they? So Dan Camish, I think, don't count him out just yet. It would be great to see him win some more races and really rocket ship up to the, you know, top 3 and the title fight, and really be in there by the end of the year, because he's had some bad luck again at the start of the year, you know. So don't count him out just yet. I think there's more to come from Dan.
Yeah, very much so. You know, when I joined, you know, the team back in 22, I knew, you know, part of the reason that it was so appealing was the Napa connection that I knew was coming. And if you look at what Napa do in America, you know, they don't do things by halves. When they get involved properly, and you can see the way in which this has grown from even, you know, from a standing start in 2022, it was fantastic. But to where we are now, it's moved on entirely. Behind the scenes, working with Napa is fantastic. Got some great people. It's a real family and a real team effort. No, I'm very proud to be part of it, and hopefully I will be obviously in the future.
The final of the 4 Napa Racing Ford Focuses is Ash Sutton in 3rd. He's had a good year. Alton Park was a complete nightmare for him. He had no luck whatsoever, which actually we don't see very often from him. We often see, even when he does have bad luck, him fighting through the field, which he was going to do in race 3, and he was doing a good job, and then he got the puncture. Aside from that weekend, though, I've got to really respect how he's gone into this season, because he knew it wasn't going to be like last year. He knew he wouldn't be able to get win after win after win, or consistently on the podium, which, to be fair, he has done. But he knew he needed to be consistent. I think he's compared it a lot like to 2018, where Turkington won the championship with just 1 win. He has been settling for podiums, top 5s, much more than going for wins. Yes, he's had his bad luck, hence why he's in third in the championship. But I think he's still very much in there. He's driving very well and driving to the championship, and he knows what he needs to do. So fair play to him. Just ahead of him is Tom Ingram. Great start to the year at Donington, double win. You know, he's won since then. He obviously has been a bit frustrated at Thruxton. Obviously lost that win, but he's still in the title hunt. He's been consistently getting points and podiums. As in his words, he's been very pointsy, which is what you need to do in a season like this. So still right in the heart of the championship fight. And I think going into the final weekend, it will be between Hill, who's leading, obviously Ingram and Sutton. Those three across Alton Park, we had all three of them led the championship at some stage across that one weekend. How close is that? So I think it'll be between those three, with the likes of Camish, Cook and maybe Turkington with a mathematical chance, who kind of, they'll be in a situation where they need to win 2 races, get fastest laps, who they'll be on the outside, but will be ready to sort of pounce if the others fall into some bad luck or whatever. So Ingram, still a real favourite to win. He's in the form of his life, really. And I think he's more competitive maybe than he was last year. I think it's a more open fight between the top guys. So, one driver left. That is Jake Hill, as I did just spoil a minute ago. He is leading. And solid start of the season at Donington. Podiums, almost won. Round 2 at Brands Hatch was a complete nightmare. He would admit, the team would admit, his dad Simon would admit, it was a complete write-off. Nothing went his way at all. But then after that, he has turned it round. He's got the double-double. He won at Snetterton, He won at Thruxton. He's been getting good points. He won then Alton Park in race 3. You know, Power Max Racing will be slightly gutted that he took it off him, but he drove so well on the final lap. What bravery from him. He's been getting such good points. And if he can keep driving how he is now and scoring points, winning races, getting podiums, and not making those silly mistakes that I think, in my opinion, have sort of plagued his last couple of years a little bit, he will win this championship. And I say that without any doubt. If he keeps as he is now, he will be your 2024 champion. I'm not the kind of channel that makes out there predictions or things that I know is unrealistic or not going to come true. We're not that kind of channel. However, I think Jake Hill, it's his championship. Like I said, though, it is super close. But if he keeps as he is now, he will be your 2024 champion. So, there you have it. All of your 2024 British Touring Car Championship drivers reviewed, discussed, rated, whatever you want to say for this season. You know what? I think it's been a brilliant year. The championship had quite a lot of bad press coming into the season, but I do think it's been a really great season so far. Everyone wants to be involved. Some great drivers, some great cars, some great teams, and it's been competitive. Like I said, any one of the top 3 can win this championship through the rest of the year. So let's see how it all unfolds for the rest of the season. I've been very excited. It's been great to cover. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you're new around here, thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching, if indeed you still are. It's great that you've checked out this video and heard my thoughts of the season. My name's Louis Hedge. I'm an 18-year-old motorsport interviewer and journalist. I cover the BTCC. I've interviewed 90% of this year's grid. And I cover all your other favourite motorsport series. So I know all of you fans loved the Mini 7 Racing Club when they visited Thruxton. I interview the likes of them, TCR UK, Minis, as in the JCWs obviously, the Porsche Carrera Cup, the British GT and the British Supercars, just to name a few. So there's 250 other motorsport interviews on my channel if you want to go and check them out now. So let me know in the comments below, what have you thought of the season so far? I think in recent years this has been one of the best. So let's see how it all unfolds. Keep enjoying the racing. Until next time, I've been your host Louis Hedge. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later.